The moment you commit to a 36-hour fast, the first shift isn't dramatic, it's subtle. Your system begins to quiet down as digestion pauses, creating a calm that most people rarely notice in daily life. Without the constant cycle of processing food, your body redirects attention inward, following patterns that humans once depended on during long gaps between meals. This quiet state doesn't mean inactivity. Inside you, hormone signals adjust their cadence, your digestive tract slows its pace, and energy management starts reorganizing itself. It's similar to a busy city reducing movement at night. Fewer incoming demands allow internal systems to recalibrate, conserve resources, and prepare for a different way of generating fuel. And while none of this is visible from the outside, the earliest steps of metabolic change are already beginning. Enzymes shift priorities, the balance between stored glucose and fat begins to tilt, and your body starts setting the stage for the transitions that will unfold over the next several hours. These early adjustments explain why a fast of this length feels different from the shorter windows most people are used to, and why the next phase becomes so interesting once the hours accumulate. Before we move on, picture this. Your body carries a built-in response that doesn't just help you endure a period without food, it quietly reorganizes how your energy is managed. And this response only appears when your routine pauses long enough for biology to shift gears. In a moment, you'll see how this transition begins unfolding during the first few hours. During the first hour, nothing dramatic happens. Your body is still burning your last meal, blood sugar is stable, and your brain is convinced everything is normal. But as you approach hour 4 or 5, a signal rises: hunger. Interestingly, this hunger isn't a real biological emergency. It's a rhythm, a habit, a conditioned response similar to expecting sunlight at dawn. Science calls this habitual hunger, and breaking it is one of the first psychological gates of a prolonged fast. Around hour 8, your stomach may grumble, but this isn't your body asking for food. It's your digestive tract adjusting to the silence we mentioned earlier. Think of it as leftover machinery winding down. Meanwhile, your liver begins releasing stored glucose to keep your energy stable. This stage feels challenging for many people, but it's actually the least biologically demanding part. Your body has reserves and knows exactly how to use them. By hour 12, something surprising happens. Hunger starts fading. Many people believe fasting gets harder over time, but the opposite often occurs. As ghrelin, the hunger hormone, drops, your mind starts feeling strangely calm. This phenomenon has been documented in multiple fasting studies showing that hunger follows waves rather than a straight upward climb. It's not the body saying, "I'm starving," it's your mind letting go of routine. Sometime between hours 12 and 18, your body reaches a crossroads. The easily accessible glucose is running low, the liver's backup supply is dwindling, and your cells are waiting for instructions. This is when a message travels across your metabolic system saying, "Switch fuels." It's like flipping a breaker in a power plant. Suddenly, your body abandons its usual energy source and begins tapping into something deeper: stored fat. This metabolic switch doesn't happen all at once, it's more like a dimming of lights than a clean cut. Enzymes start increasing their activity, hormones shift, and fatty acids begin flowing toward your liver for conversion into ketones, your new fuel. This stage is where many people report an unexpected wave of energy. It's as if your body realizes, "Oh, we're doing this," and settles into a rhythm it hasn't used since ancient food-scarce times. And here's where the science becomes fascinating. Ketones don't just power your body, they influence your brain. Early research shows that ketones deliver cleaner, more efficient energy to neurons, which may explain why the next stage of a 36-hour fast often brings sharper focus rather than fatigue. But don't get too comfortable, because this is only the warm-up. Just when the metabolic switch stabilizes, your cells unlock a survival toolkit that modern eating habits rarely allow them to use.
That toolkit is about to reveal itself in a way that feels almost like the body upgrading itself from the inside out. As you move past hour 18 and into hour 24, ketosis deepens like a new operating system booting up. Your cells start relying heavily on ketones, and something almost paradoxical happens. Your energy becomes more stable than when you were eating. Instead of relying on meal-to-meal fuel spikes, your body taps into vast fat reserves that burn steadily, cleanly, and predictably. Inside your mitochondria, the tiny engines of your cells, ketones spark changes that signal efficiency, resilience, and even protection against oxidative stress. Some researchers have described this shift as metabolic rejuvenation, where energy production becomes smoother and less damaging than glucose-based metabolism. Imagine your body running not on gasoline, but on an ultra-clean electric current. Alongside this, your brain begins receiving these ketones as premium-grade fuel. This may be why people often report heightened alertness, improved concentration, and even emotional steadiness at this stage. You're not running out of energy. You're upgrading your fuel source. The irony? Most people never stay fasted long enough to reach this point, so they miss one of the most unique physiological states humans can experience. But hidden inside this stage is a far more mysterious process, a process so intriguing that many scientists consider it one of the most important survival mechanisms of the human body. And this process isn't just about energy, it's about repair. At the 24-hour mark, the story changes completely. When you cross the approximate 24-hour threshold, your body activates one of its most remarkable biological tools, autophagy. This is the moment your cells begin scanning themselves for broken parts, damaged proteins, and malfunctioning components, and then dismantling them for recycling. Imagine your body performing a deep internal audit, clearing out clutter that has been sitting around for months or even years. This process was so revolutionary in biomedicine that it earned a Nobel Prize. Autophagy appears to play a role in cellular renewal, longevity, and protection against various metabolic stresses. You can think of it as your body finally having the time, energy, and biochemical conditions to take out the trash. And once that cleanup begins, many people report feeling lighter, not in weight, but in clarity, mood, and focus. What's even more fascinating is that autophagy doesn't activate fully during short fasts. It needs time, real time, without caloric input. That's why a 36-hour fast is so unique. It enters a territory where your biology unlocks features that simply don't happen during everyday eating patterns. And yes, you'll learn how far this cleaning mode can go later in this video, because the true depth of autophagy happens beyond this early stage. Before we jump to the next block, answer this. Which part surprised you the most so far? Ketosis, the metabolic switch, or autophagy? Comment below so I can see how far your curiosity is going. As you move deeper into your 36-hour fast, your brain enters a crossroads. Most people expect fogginess, weakness, or a sluggish mind, but instead, something surprising often happens. Your mental clarity begins to sharpen. That shift is tied to ketones, which act not just as fuel, but as neuroprotective molecules that stabilize neural circuits. Many report a sense of alert calmness, almost like the brain switches from static-filled radio to a clean, uninterrupted signal.
However, and this is where the story tightens, this clarity is not guaranteed. Some individuals feel a temporary slump before the mental rise, especially if their bodies aren't accustomed to switching fuels quickly. During this transitional turbulence, the brain is recalibrating its expectations, asking, "Where's the glucose?" before realizing, "Oh, we're running on something better now." Once that transition completes, the fog lifts dramatically. Researchers studying prolonged fasting have noted changes in neurotransmitters, such as norepinephrine, which increases alertness and focus.
This may explain why many people describe a hunter-like mental state, as if the mind is rediscovering ancient instincts forged in periods when food scarcity demanded heightened awareness. It's not magic, it's biology shaped by evolution itself. Once your fast crosses the 24-hour mark, the hormonal environment inside you becomes almost unrecognizable compared to a fed state. Insulin, a hormone responsible for storing energy, drops to extremely low levels, creating the perfect conditions for fat mobilization and cellular repair. This is one of the reasons fasting has become such a hotspot in metabolic research. Low insulin sets the stage for transformations that normal eating patterns never allow. Meanwhile, growth hormone rises significantly, not to build muscle during the fast, but to protect it. This hormone acts like a guardian, preserving lean tissue while encouraging your body to burn fat instead. It's a defense mechanism that allowed early humans to endure long periods without food, without wasting away. And now, during your fast, you are tapping into that same evolutionary blueprint. But then comes cortisol, the stress hormone, adding complexity to the landscape. Cortisol can rise during long fasts, not to harm you, but to maintain stable energy levels by helping glucose production when necessary. If you're calm, hydrated, and well-rested, cortisol stays supportive. But if you're stressed, anxious, or sleep-deprived, it can turn your fast into a physical challenge. It's a hormone with two faces, and the experience you feel depends on which one shows up. This hormonal orchestra is powerful, but it also leads us to an uncomfortable question. What happens to your muscles when the body is running on 0 calories? Are they protected, or are they quietly breaking down? The answer is more surprising than you think. Many people fear that a fast of 36 hours will cause muscle loss, but the reality is far more nuanced and far less alarming. During the first day of fasting, your body prioritizes fat as fuel, not muscle tissue. Thanks to spikes in growth hormone and the presence of ketones, your muscles enter a protective state. It's as if your body recognizes that muscle is essential for survival and must be preserved at all costs. But here's where it gets interesting. Your muscles do something incredibly efficient during this period. They temporarily reduce their demand for glucose and begin relying more on fatty acids and ketones. This metabolic shift allows the body to preserve amino acids, the building blocks of muscle, rather than burning them. In other words, your muscles become energy misers, conserving resources while adapting to the fast. Still, there's a threshold. If fasting continues for several days, muscle breakdown can eventually begin. But within the 36-hour window, especially when hydration and electrolyte balance are maintained, muscle catabolism remains minimal. This has been supported by multiple studies observing that meaningful muscle loss occurs only after significantly longer fasts or in cases of extreme caloric deprivation. Yet, while muscles handle this short-term challenge surprisingly well, another part of your body is undergoing a transformation that may be even more significant. It's the quiet reduction of inflammation, something science has been unraveling with growing fascination.
Around the midpoint of your 36-hour fast, systemic inflammation begins to decrease, and the reduction is not subtle. Markers like CRP and IL-6 often show measurable declines during prolonged fasting windows, suggesting that your immune system enters a calmer, more balanced state. This doesn't mean your immune system becomes weaker. On the contrary, it becomes more efficient, less reactive to low-level noise. One reason for this drop is the reduction in oxidative stress, particularly as ketones replace glucose as the primary energy source. Ketones generate fewer free radicals during metabolism, which naturally reduces the inflammatory burden inside your tissues. This biological quieting effect is one reason many people report decreased joint stiffness, fewer headaches, and even smoother skin during fasting phases. But there's another layer to this. As autophagy progresses, damaged cellular components that would otherwise trigger inflammation are dismantled and recycled. Imagine clearing clutter from a room. Suddenly, the space feels lighter, cleaner, more functional. Your immune system feels this same relief when cellular debris stops accumulating. Still, this anti-inflammatory state comes with a caveat. It's beneficial only when fasting is done safely, which leads us into the shadowed corner of the 36-hour fast, the part that most people avoid discussing, but is crucial to understand before attempting it yourself. A 36-hour fast can unlock remarkable biological benefits, but it also carries risks, especially for people with certain medical conditions. Individuals with diabetes, particularly those on insulin or glucose-lowering medications, face the danger of hypoglycemia, a sudden drop in blood sugar that can become life-threatening. For them, fasting without medical supervision is not just unsafe, it can be truly dangerous. Electrolyte imbalance is another hidden threat. As insulin drops and water shifts between bodily compartments, sodium and potassium levels can fluctuate. Without proper hydration and mineral intake, dizziness, heart palpitations, or cramps may appear. Most people underestimate this part, thinking water alone is enough, when in reality, electrolytes are the backbone of safe, prolonged fasting. There's also the psychological dimension. For individuals with a history of eating disorders, fasting can trigger patterns that spiral into unhealthy behaviors. Even for those without prior issues, extended fasting may lead to overeating when the fast is finally broken. This rebound effect can counteract many of the metabolic benefits and create a cycle that feels more punishing than empowering. So while the benefits are compelling, the risks add complexity. And understanding both sides is the only way to approach a 36-hour fast intelligently. That's where we uncover what happens when food returns, how the body reacts in the days after the fast, and whether this kind of fasting is truly worth it. The moment you break a 36-hour fast, your digestive system wakes up like a machine restarting after a long power down. Your stomach, pancreas, and gut lining have been resting, recalibrating, and waiting for the first signal of incoming nutrients. If that signal arrives too aggressively, through heavy, oily, or oversized meals, the system becomes overwhelmed, leading to discomfort, bloating, or even a dangerous spike in insulin. That's why scientists emphasize the importance of a gentle refeed phase. When you choose easily digestible foods, you allow your gut to re-engage smoothly, supporting nutrient absorption without causing inflammation. Think of this moment as handing back responsibilities to organs that have spent hours repairing themselves. A careful refeed amplifies the benefits you've earned during the fast instead of undoing them. Smooth digestion means smoother energy, mood, and metabolic response afterward.
But here's the twist. The wrong refeed can erase nearly all the benefits of the fast. A sudden hit of sugar or large volumes of food triggers insulin spikes, water retention, and digestive stress. The right refeed, however, transforms the fast into a metabolic victory rather than a setback. And this sets the stage for what happens in the hours and days after the fast ends. Once the fast is over, your metabolism doesn't instantly return to normal. It stays in an elevated, more efficient mode for anywhere from several hours to an entire day. This means your cells continue burning fat at a slightly higher rate, insulin sensitivity remains improved, and inflammation stays lower. It's like your body is coasting on the momentum created during the fast, enjoying the biochemical alignment you achieved. In these post-fast hours, many people experience a calm and steady energy that feels different from the roller coaster swings created by frequent eating. Your digestive tract continues working with restored balance, and your appetite cues often behave more honestly, meaning you feel hunger when you actually need fuel rather than out of habit or emotion. This recalibration is one of the most fascinating after effects documented in fasting studies. Yet, this domino effect can fall in either direction. If you maintain balanced meals and controlled portions after the fast, the benefits extend into days. If you overeat, especially high sugar or processed foods, you can flip the dominoes backward. Your post-fast behavior determines the long-term outcome just as much as the fast itself. Which leads us to the essential question, who should even attempt a fast like this? Science makes one thing clear. Fasting is powerful, but it is not universal. Healthy adults can often complete a 36-hour fast safely, especially if they are metabolically flexible and stay hydrated. But for individuals with certain conditions, like diabetes, low blood pressure, thyroid disorders, or a history of hypoglycemia, this type of fast may pose risks that outweigh the benefits. The same applies to pregnant individuals or anyone with a history of disordered eating. Age also plays a role. Younger adults usually transition in and out of fasting states more easily, thanks to faster metabolic response and more resilient hormone balance. Older adults can still benefit, but should approach prolonged fasting more cautiously, especially if medications are involved. It's not about exclusion, it's about making decisions grounded in biology rather than trends. The real takeaway is that fasting is a tool, not a requirement. Those who thrive on it often feel an almost instinctive alignment with the fasted state, while others may find shorter windows like 12 or 16 hours more appropriate. Understanding your own body is the key to deciding if this level of fasting fits into your life. And if you want to understand the exact moment your body stops burning fat and starts protecting it, you need to watch this next video. How long could you fast before cortisol starts protecting belly fat? It connects perfectly with what we just uncovered, and the answer will surprise you even more. So is a 36-hour fast worth it? For many, the answer is yes, but not because it's a magical weight loss trick or a shortcut to health. It's worth it because it reveals biological modes your body rarely accesses: deep ketosis, autophagy, hormonal recalibration, and improved metabolic clarity. These hidden states allow your system to repair, clean, reset, and operate from a different angle, one built on evolution rather than modern convenience. But the value depends entirely on how you approach it. When done safely, mindfully, and with proper refeeding, the fast becomes a structured challenge that rewards you with sharper mental focus, reduced inflammation, and a renewed relationship with hunger and energy. When done recklessly, however, it becomes a stressor rather than a tool. The line between benefit and harm lies in knowledge, preparation, and self-awareness. If there's one truth fasting reveals, it's this: your body is capable of far more than you think. And sometimes the greatest transformations happen not when you add more, but when you allow space for stillness, silence, and biological intelligence to take over. Before you go, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share this video so more people can discover what really happens inside 36 hours of fasting.